Hello, this is Jimmy Akimbade. So today we'll be looking at risk response strategies for threats. But before we examine the risk response strategies that can be employed for threats, we'll first of all look at what is a threat itself. A threat is an event that could happen or may not happen. Once a threat happens, at least one area of a project would be negatively affected. So a threat usually has a negative impact on a project. So the negative impact could be that the project is ultimately completed late or the project is completed above budget. So usually in project management, one of the critical goals we have is to avoid or mitigate threats. This is because threats reduce the probability of your project being successful. So ideally, you want to avoid threats. If not, you want to be able to mitigate them so that at the end of the day, your project can still be successful. So the first strategy that is meant for threats is what we call avoid. Avoid simply means we want to prevent the threat from happening. So the good thing about avoid is once the threat doesn't occur, the project will not experience its negative impacts. Stakeholders of the project will not experience the negative impacts of the threat because we would have succeeded in preventing the threat from occurring. So a typical example of this could be that in the course of executing your project, you may want to hold what we call a team building activity, which could be in the form of a picnic for your team members. So the risk that could occur that can make that activity to fail could be that rainfall, for example. So in order to avoid that risk, we can schedule the picnic to the dry season. So of course, we know that in the dry season, the probability of rain falling is low. So that is avoid. Another example of avoid could be that in order to discourage or trying to prevent your supplier from delivering late, you could include a stiff penalty in the contract. So for example, if you deliver late by even one day, even though you completed the whole scope of the job, you'll be getting half of your money. I think that is stiff enough. So that is avoid. We want to prevent the threat from occurring. Then, unfortunately, not all threats can be avoided. So we have two other options. Transfer. Transfer simply means we want to transfer the risk to another party. We want to transfer the risk to another party. So strategies used under transfer include insurance and outsourcing. So for example, um, a building construction company has gotten a project that involves construction and interior decoration. Their core area is construction, not interior decoration. So if they try to handle the interior decoration part on their own, they would most likely do a shoddy job. So they can transfer that risk to another company whose core area is interior decoration. So insurance and outsourcing are under transfer. Then the last one is mitigate. For mitigate, we want to either reduce the probability of the threat occurring or reduce its impact or reduce both the probability and impact of the threat occurring. So we either want to reduce the probability of the threat occurring, or if it occurs, we want to reduce its impact. Better still, we can attempt to reduce both probability and impact of the threat. if it occurs. So a typical example of this is imagine you are building an estate that involves 5 buildings that are being built or constructed at the same time, and you only have one safety personnel or one safety officer for that estate. Of course, there is the risk that the safety officer, because he would be working a large expanse of land, would easily get fatigued. There's also the risk that workers could get injured on site. So what we can do to mitigate that risk is we can have a safety officer for each building, so that we have 5 safety officers, one for each building. That, number one, prevents each safety officer from being easily fatigued because they are concentrating on only one building, each of them. And that also reduces the probability and impact of workers getting injured on site. So that is mitigate. So those are the strategies that are exclusively used for threats on your projects. So thank you very much. Have a great week. Bye.